So YouTube Rewind 2019 happened, I think it was pretty good. About a year ago, Rewind 2018 made a statement. Everyone controls Rewind. And what pretty much everyone who watched it made clear, that's not how creators and general audiences on YouTube felt. And first impressions say that YouTube listened. With these words, they admitted that there is power in the hands of viewers. But by disliking YouTube Rewind as a meme, we're throwing that power away. The angle that Rewind has taken has changed quite a bit over the years, but a drastic, jarring change like this has not happened in a while. I wanted to look into this, so I rewatched all the rewinds, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. It gave me new perspective not only on how YouTube has changed, but how YouTubers have changed over the years. But most importantly, it made me realize that what Rewind became in 2018, when everyone lost their minds, happened so gradually. 2016's Rewind is still pretty good. It feels like this massive collaboration between creators, but you can really start seeing the seams. It starts with a bit with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a very similar way as last year started with Will Smith. But nobody freaked out. And late night hosts are ever present as early as 2013. So YouTube Rewind is pandering to corporations, or they're favoring popular artists, or late night show hosts are everywhere, and old media comments are a little misplaced. Because these things have been as much a part of YouTube as independent creators for the better part of a decade. 2012's Rewind might be my favorite because it has the best combination of cringe and creativity.
Rewind YouTube style.
Just
YouTube style.
That's the first bit. But that's what people wanted. Walk of the Earth, which is a YouTube-based group that made their name on YouTube, and Psy, who's this internationally known K-pop artist. To me, that represents YouTube much better than just showing independent creators. Because obviously I have hundreds of YouTubers that I thoroughly enjoy, but I enjoy watching late night clips on YouTube. But the last time they just ranked stuff was in 2011. They basically just made a montage of the most viewed videos. YouTube was much smaller back then and went from being a platform mainly used by independent artists to being this mega platform that hosts literally anything and everything. The tonal shift to these almost skit-based rewinds worked because YouTube could still justifiably be called one thing. But now the platform has become so big, the only real safe way to do Rewind is to look back at the year's numbers. Keep in mind, that's technically all Rewind was ever supposed to be. A celebration of the things that were statistically significant. Even though the criticism is there that it might feel safe to do a list, numbers don't lie. In the past, people felt like YouTube was trying to appeal to corporations by putting an ad-friendly face on Rewind and neglecting creators. Whereas this year, they just showed creators on their platform and their numeric relationships with their communities. Notice that I used the plural. We'll get to that later. Hey, I noticed while I was editing that I didn't really specify what I meant by plural. I meant the plural communities because it's a whole thing. Later I pointed out it has to do with the communities. That's the thing. That's the plural I'm referring to. Anyway, back to the video. People criticized the list vibe, but to me this felt more real and less scripted. Rewind 2018 felt like it probably had some massive writing team and a huge crew, but this almost feels like something a YouTuber could do, and I think YouTube knows that. Something we forget is that the process for Rewind has always included looking at the likes and dislikes and the views on certain videos, and famously looking at the comments. I think YouTube really tried to do a cool thing that celebrated the platform, but people were primed to hate it because of this disconnect between YouTube and the creators. So when this year rolled around, it wouldn't have mattered what YouTube did because people connected over the dislikes. Removing any narrative except here is what you, the viewers, said you liked creates a transparency. Last year, if you didn't like K-pop, you could claim that YouTube is out of touch. But this year, you can't pretend that no one cared. The numbers are right there. You're wrong. You're the one who's out of touch. YouTube is a bunch of things. I mentioned that YouTube has changed quite a bit over the years, and I generally view YouTube in a certain way based on the kinds of videos I watch and the kinds of content creators that I enjoy. I have kind of always seen YouTube as this big community, but if we're honest with ourselves, YouTubers are part of communities and viewers are part of communities. But those who are fans of Lil Nas aren't necessarily fans of Shawn Mendes. I don't really care much for dance specific videos, but I really care about video games. Not big on beauty vloggers personally, but I adore well-produced music videos. I always tell people that YouTube as a platform has everything good and bad that you could ever dream of, and for the first time since I've started paying attention, which if we're honest for most of us isn't that long, I only really started caring about a Rewind last year. Even my taste in YouTube content felt represented. Angry mentions that one of the main reasons people dislike YouTube Rewind is one of the main reasons why he likes it, and I agree with him.
When you have an idea of what something is, and then you are confronted with the reality that that thing is different than you thought, it's uncomfortable. And YouTube is not what we imagine it to be. You know, you watch the thing and you realize that, like, this place is just much bigger than we think, and no individual person is a huge part of it.
It's a confrontation with the fact that YouTube is different from what you thought. We all think YouTube is this one thing that we like, but there is no one version of YouTube that appeals to everyone. His eventual point is that YouTube isn't trying to be a community with Rewind 2019. In this video, they're just highlighting things that were done on their platform. I was planning to do a video discussing the music of YouTube Rewind, maybe looking back at the mashups, because those are the things that always jump out at me in Rewind. But this year, except for little moments that were quite fun, nothing really blew me away. The whole thing was decidedly not what it was in previous years. If we're honest, it was a little boring. Ooh, twist! Oh, you thought the video was just gonna be contrarian. I actually agree with some of the points people are making. I initially rejected people saying it's boring as hate because people defaulted to that. And like I said, people were primed to hate it. But the second time I watched it with a friend, and I noticed that he was at all times hovering over the skip 10 seconds feature. And that's the commentary that I saw most in the discourse that followed Rewind's release. I do have one personal problem, and honestly it's a bit of a rant, but it is related. I didn't realize this because I'm an idiot, but Davey504 pointed this out in his Rewind video. There are tons, literally thousands of musicians who make music exclusively for YouTube that have their entire fan bases and communities spending time on this platform that are not ranked. Now, I totally agree with Old Town Road and Bad Guy being on the list. I have no issues with that. Those were mega hits and they are part of YouTube. But no independent YouTube musicians? A whole segment for dance videos, but like no musicians? Not cool. So if we take an honest look at YouTube Rewind 2019, practically, is this good? I don't know, maybe. They didn't shy away from showing creators that YouTube had kind of shunned in the past. This didn't feel like one big advertisement shot by YouTube. It was a collection of creators' videos. The fact that Black Griffin, one of my absolute favorite creators, was on this list next to PewDiePie and Mr. Beast blew my mind. Something that no one is talking about is that at the end, they provide a playlist with all these creators on it. Rewind still doesn't and never will represent all of YouTube. It can't. They still edit the list, obviously, which is fine. They have to save face with advertisers, and they included no kids content, which is probably a good thing with this whole COPA thing. Can't wait for that to kick in. But I almost feel like YouTube Rewind doesn't have to try and appeal to everyone. It should be a look back at what were the biggest videos. And this year did that perfectly. I feel like people were disappointed because they couldn't hate on it, really. Disliking YouTube Rewind was one of the most anticipated events of the year. I'm excited to see what they do next year. I don't know, maybe they'll do a combination that could be pretty cool. Have some skit-based stuff, but always show the numbers. Like I said, that's a pretty good move. Honestly, I liked it. Instead of saying, we're giving Rewind to the creators, they said, here's what creators gave YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything that this last year has shown us is that likes and dislikes make a difference. Also memes. I think the fact that YouTube was the butt of the joke was probably the reason this happened. I mentioned that I rewatched all of the previous year's rewinds, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. I'll make a playlist, I'll link it at the end. It's so interesting to just see how YouTube has changed over the last decade. As a final thought, I felt it was really cool that near the end they said, you helped these people rise up. And they showed a bunch of creators from different parts of the world and different communities, and it's just cool. I genuinely hope to one day see the first South African YouTuber with over 10 million subscribers. Doesn't have to be me. If you haven't already and you like the kind of videos I make, please subscribe and hit notifications. It helps the channel grow, and I love making these videos, so please subscribe. More than anything else, just thank you for watching this video, dude. Goodbye.